just got some water because I peed and it was sun yellow, and I thought I needed some more water.
Yeah. So you got to be part of the clear pee club. It's important.
Clear pee club. And how long have you been a member of this club, Danny?
I'm a card carrying member.
About 30 minutes ago.
You're a CCCPC.
Excuse me, I don't pee home without it.
All right, I think on that note, let's start the show.
If you pee at home, it's a problem.
So pee is good. If we're gonna go there, we should talk about the Bristol app for your phone. Bristoler?
No, thanks.
We talked about
you know what the Bristol app is, Phil?
No?
Nope. Nope.
It's a barometer of your poop. I don't know why we went from pee to poop. So we milk, lemonade around the corner, fudge is made. Did we hit the trifecta now?
How about we start the show?
Third waste? There's a third form of waste, which is plasma.
Okay.
True. I've seen Star Trek.
Hey, Jeremy, help us out, man.
Welcome to the Adventures of Danny and Mike. To my left, Mr. Danny Tamberelli.
Hello.
And sort of below me to the left there, Mr. Michael C. Maronna.
Just reorient your view and turn on the tape deck there, Junior.
I wish I could. And our guest for the entire hour.
Just snap it on.
He's a producer and host of Nick Arcade. He's a Nick alum. He's going to fit right in. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Phil Moore's here. Hello, Phil. Hello.
Love child of Tito Jackson. Hello, everybody.
the teal and turquoise tribe.
Oh my God.
Well, welcome to the podcast. Glad we got the pee and the poop out of the way right from the get-go.
Near the top. We just lost 2,000 listeners immediately.
That's right. In most states. What's happening? Phil, welcome to the podcast. How you guys have met, I'm presuming, on all that. You did shows together. You did tons of stuff, right? No?
The most time I would see Danny, especially, was on Figure It Out. The original Figure It Out. So he was on that a lot. And my son, David, who's now a grown up and a filmmaker, he was one of the Charade Brigade on the show.
Gosh, yeah.
Dude, he was on the Charade Brigade. And I used to come on there, the thing is we see each other a lot because you're in the studio. Danny was the interesting one. Mike, not so much because they shot Pete and Pete on location, but Danny, when he was on all that and came in to Figure It Out. So I'd see him like all the time.
It's true. So we were forced by law to do these, charitable events together as well.
Forced by law?
Yeah. I feel that's at least what my mom said. I had to do it.
Well,
Danny, your mom lied. Son of a bitch.
You didn't have to, but you did it anyway because it felt good. I think I met Phil on at least 2 occasions, if not 3.
It was like Nick takes over your school or something like that.
I think we did something with Lori Beth Denberg. It could have been a big help. And then I saw Phil more recently. Phil more butts. Hey, a few years back at the launch for this Nickelodeon book called Slimes. Phil was
cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was very cool. Got to come back to New York.
Hardy was there, I think, too. It was very you saw some very happy people there that night. You know what I mean?
It was like a high school reunion. Look, I had no idea the thing was going to be that big. I was expecting to just jump in there. It was going to be a handful of people. When I arrived, they had a car come pick me up, and the line was around the block. And on the marquee, it had Weird Al Yankovic. I'm like, well, I guess they're there for him. But his show was like coming up. It was like it was standing room only for us. And
that was a good feeling.
It was a show before the show because we were all, reuniting with each other, people we hadn't seen in, 15, 20 years, And so, everybody was like, okay, it's time for you to go on stage. Like, no, but I'm still
I was talking to, that was a good feeling. And I thought it even better for those people who got to, who came to the event, who got to see us sort of re-encounter each other again after a long time.
And we were talking candid. The best part about it was we were talking candid.
Very candidly. Because everybody was like, oh, I'm going to this, that. I didn't have a kid at that point, but I do now. I wasn't wearing as much turquoise then. But I'm matching Phil, that day I wore like the same boring blue dress shirt as Hardy. So I was dressed the exact same as my TV dad, randomly, completely unintentionally, but randomly.
And today you did it again.
Look, I purposely wore a boring blue shirt because I knew that somebody was going to ask about those god awful sweaters they used to make me wear on Nick Arcade. So I literally had a standard blue shirt on. I went, hey, look, I bought standard. I got over it. Thank you.
I put the sweaters in storage and I moved. And
people ask me, why did you wear the sweaters? I'm like, hey, because the check cleared. What a dumb question.
That's right.
The check cleared.
That's right.
Same reason Dana got slimed over and over again because...
No, again, my mom said I was contractually obligated to do those things.
Yeah, you've got a conversation coming.
That's really funny. I went back. I was thinking about that day that we hung out there, and I watched this other kid's video about what had happened that day. He played a character called Ross on Are You Afraid of the Dark? And or maybe the actor's name was Ross. I'm terrible. I'm a bad person. And it was really it was striking how people wanted to see his prop as well, his glasses. And Danny, your hat is like so intrinsic to your character. Your hunters, your black and white, your buffalo plaid hunters.
It only dons the top of my Christmas tree every year. That's it.
Oh, you put it on your That's great.
I do.
That's really nice.
I do.
We should do like a streaming from the Tamberelli, the Tamberelli Tamberweiler households sometime. Where
I like how you combine our names. It's beautiful.
That would be sweet. That's a nice. But yeah, Phil, like how important that was to kids, like to see that, and something a little bit nerdier out of the ordinary.
Well, the thing I thought was really cool was, again, watching them enjoy us reunite while we're on stage. But then when I talked about being candid, like we were telling some behind the scenes things that there was no other vehicle or no other platform to do because we were on Nickelodeon. It was
the platform was the drink tickets that night. We got about we got about 2 drink tickets, I think, each. And then after that, you kind of were on your own. But I don't think because the amount of time we were there, we didn't kind of stop it.
Well, there had to be. Can you give us some dish? There had to be someone that got probably a little too saucy. Anybody?
Yeah, I don't know. I think
it was Phil. I'm trying to say it was Phil.
I was about to say maybe I don't remember because maybe I was the guy.
I know it was. Whoa! I know it was my birthday, so I was trying to stay out of trouble. I don't think I was the one who got in too much trouble. I'm not sure who it was. Well,
I know that when we got done, we hung out a little bit again, and then I went out with some folks, and we did some more eating and some more drinking.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
This is a common, good humans. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Good humans.
Yeah. So what's up with you guys? I mean, of course, I know about the band. Every time I come to New York, I try to come and see you, but there's either something that happens or that particular weekend, you guys are booked in Alaska or something. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Man, but those last minute Alaska gigs are so special.
They really, we'll give you 50,000 miles. We'll give you 50,000 miles.
We'll fly you out for free and we'll give you a tent and watch for the bears. Sounds good, man. We'll do whatever, man. Yeah. It's all about the rock and roll.
Thawed meat and boiling water.
and so, Danny, I know you probably talked about this on this podcast already, but I'm, late to the party and all. But you were like a little bit last year out with Lori Beth doing some stuff. You did a thing. That was
so Mike and Jeremy and I started this thing called Nostalgia Personified that we've been doing. So
in a number of locations.
Yeah. So we did a Pete and Pete version, and then we did an all that version with Lori Beth, and
we could do a pan Nickelodeon version.
We can do a Nick Arcade version like Absolutely. That.
I was about to say, hey Jeremy, can we do Phil in his sweater and Mikey version? That's what
yes, all sweater version.
I know Cal has done like a '90s nights in Florida as well, right, Dan?
Oh yeah, he does like bar hopping 90s nights.
Well, you know what?
Where everybody drinks orange soda.
We have never done a foam party in our nostalgia personified shows.
No,
not now because everybody
a foam party, and we have not done like let me ruin another one for you, Jeremy. We've never done glow sticks. Sorry, sorry, buddy.
Because it was Nickelodeon, we should have done a Floam party. See if any of that stuff, that Floam.
Oh, that stuff dried out, man.
Have a gack attack. Floam was like those little bees.
Yeah, the little bees. Like paste. Yeah, that's really that stuff wasn't good. Didn't taste very good either.
How much memorabilia do you guys have left? Because everybody keeps asking me.
Mom just put a jean jacket on me that has a couple of Nick embroideries on it, and I didn't try it on, and I just kept it on the hanger. And I know it's a little too big for my son, who is not yet 4 years old. So we're gonna have to meet in the middle somewhere.
Well, we did a thing. You know, we've done like various things like cons and getting together. But we did something during this COVID time that it dawned on me that it never been done before. Where we had the original 5 90s Nick game show hosts all on a Zoom at one time. It was Summer Sanders, Mike O'Malley, Mark Summers, Kurt Fogg, and myself. And it just, and in the midst of doing this, I was like, head exploded. This had never happened before. Even when we were, going around, it would either be 2 of us, 3 of us, but never all 5 of us together. It was really cool.
So necessity was a mother of invention.
And all of us were trying to ask together. And being game show people, we're all trying to ask
each other questions.
So,
how was your Saturday?
No.
How was your weekend? No.
When we form Captain Planet, who gets to be the?
Right. And all of the answers were in forms of questions, like on Jeopardy, and it really fucked everybody up.
We all walked around with little buzzers. We had little bells that ding before we could answer.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer any more questions from Mark. I'd rather just take the physical challenge and say.
So that was crazy. That was fun.
So I love that.
I think I was a little old for the Nick Arcade. Was that after Pete and Pete or in that same era?
I'm not even talking to you. You suck. No, I'm saying,
Jeremy is old.
I didn't have Pete and Pete either.
Jeremy's definitely old enough.
Phil, Jeremy's as old as your is.
Yeah, I'm 45. Going to be
older than you by
I'm messing with you, Jeremy. I'm messing with you, Jeremy. No, yeah. If you're at a certain age bracket, then you didn't get it. Nick Arcade came after. The show premiered. We started shooting it in 1990. It premiered in 1991. But I remember Pete and Pete was already on. Like I knew.
Just for a year though.
Yeah, we
started 89.
89, yeah. So I knew. Well, no, 2 years because we didn't. You started 89, but we didn't premiere until 91. So
we had a head start.
Yeah. So I knew who these guys were, and especially when I found out I got the job to host Nick Arcade, then it was like, well, let me start watching the network more because my son at the time was only like a year and a half, so he wasn't really watching Nickelodeon yet. So
and they hadn't expanded into that Nick Jr. sort of like preschool.
We were still in PBS,
Right.
Sometimes, I'm happy with the. I got a Richard Scarry book for my son right now that he's really into. That my mom gave to me when I was little, so it's nice to see those sort of hand-me-downs. But our show is not to toot our own horn, which is what we do on here. Our shows, Phil, yours and ours were both way ahead of their time for Nickelodeon. I think now the technology is caught up to make both of them fully realized.
Yeah.
The only thing, the show Nick Arcade won major technical awards, and it's interesting now. The only thing that sort of dates the show. Seriously, I mean, forget music, forget, sweaters up. But the only thing that really dates the show is the games, because now this virtual thing is so common that if we had Apex Legends up in there, it would look just as relevant as anything happening today.
Well, that sort of leads to my other question: is do you still game on the new consoles, or are you a sort of an old?
I am knee deep in it, man. Not just knee deep.
Nice.
I'm totally knee deep.
Right now, I'm actually producing. I was trying to get through that. I'm still about 2/3 of the way through. So, if you haven't,
I'm right now. I haven't won. I've been kind of knee deep because when COVID started, I just signed on right before we went on lockdown, I'm producing a new show on Twitch called Chasing the Crown. Okay. And it's a game
about
show
about some gaming, I'm guessing.
Yeah, about some gaming, and then there's also physical challenges. So we have gamers who are streamers on there competing against each other, and then after they play these video games, then we do an IRL challenge in which we come up with a game they have to do live in their house that's sort of based off of a video game or video game thing.
Oh, sure. So, do a Metroid Screw Attack.
I've got a great one for Pitfall, okay? Back in the day,
we're both thinking of the same thing, leaping over lava. We're both thinking of the same. Or you wanted to step on 3 crocodiles.
You had to take, you had to take
you
all the
cushions. You wanted to step on 3 crocodiles.
You take all the cushions off the couch and they go on the floor. I have to try to crawl up the top of the couch without slipping and falling. You hit the couch with right. Because if you hit the couch with no cushions, you're done.
Which is an actual game show.
Alfie doing some couch crawling because Gerard is just up and down the couch too much.
Yeah, he goes crazy.
But there's a Netflix show now called The Floor is Lava.
Floor is Lava. Right.
Where they took that whole concept. Check it. No, it's a whole game show.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. It is one of the simplest concepts, but no lie. I started watching it at like 10:30 one night when I discovered it. And the next, 3 a.m., I'm like, I go to work.
We got 2 or 3 in. Yeah. It's better than you would think it. You would think it would just, it has one sort of angle, but
it's really good. Yeah. And the funny thing is that prior to working on this show producing the show for Twitch that I'm doing now. Prior to that, I was producing another show for Nickelodeon in which The Floor is Lava was a small segment of it. And somebody just cracked it out and made it a whole thing. Yeah. And it's got me up at night. Watch it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
There's so many of these shows like that where it's people running up these giant platforms and getting hit in the face with giant balls or very Nickelodeon-esque or
a couple of the people that work on Floor is Lava came from Wipeout.
I was about to say Wipeout because that sounds like people getting whammed into water hazards and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like somebody said, what if you took Wipeout, Nickelodeon, and put it together? So you get wiped out, but then you fall in some liquidy crap.
But Wipeout wouldn't have existed without Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
Oh,
or American Ninja Warrior.
Here we go. Yeah. No, I used to like Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. Here we go.
Yeah,
Guy La Douche.
Or Funhouse, I'd say back to that, like reaching all the way back, sort of like.
No, really, MXC. If you watch MXC with Guy La Douche and the 2 guys, man.
Geniuses, the people who made that.
Genius.
Yeah.
Except like on the American version on Wipeout, it's like bounce, bounce, splash. This would be smash your face, crack your arm, hit you into a boulder, and then splash.
Yeah.
The Pistons would be more sadistic in the in that show, and there's too much room for humiliation that's wasted in Wipeout, and we sort of rely upon the splash to do the comedic work.
Right. Yeah. But so it's kind of interesting. I'm playing. So I do stay on the play. I have a PS4. Right now, the last games that I had time to play were games like Last of Us 1. I always go back to all of the Batman Arkham ones. Those are just staples. Skyrim. Started playing. My girlfriend said, you got to play Skyrim. She started playing that. But here lately, it's been things like, one of the big things of chasing the crown is Apex Legends. So I jumped into that. Doom Eternal, jumped into that. So I still play. And it's funny because the Circle of Life, Simba, I'm right back into doing shows that have to do with video games. And it's a game show. Except I'm on the other side of the camera now.
You were
producing it, streaming.
You were planting the seed.
You were born for it, Phil.
That's it.
Yeah, guess.
I'll tell you what, Phil. I did. I was in GTA 5. I was a character, and the first day that I was on set, and the avatar popped up. I thought of Nick Arcade and you, and I'm like, man, they've really stepped it up. Like the trailblaze is real, and whoa.
It's about to get real with the PS5. I think it's about to get like instant loading, all of this mad next level stuff that we haven't seen in a jump like this, I think. But
my age is showing.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a PS3. I'm a generation behind. I'm now 2 generations behind because PS5 is going to come out soon.
Dude, we're going to start we're going to sell a telethon for you, okay?
I think there's better places to put your money towards. I just I didn't I figure that my son is such a crazy piler and builder that he might like some type of. I really thought he might like the annoying Goose Game, but I didn't introduce that to him because he's just not can't really hold the control type of thing. So I thought he might like something like Katamari Damacy. I don't know if you played that type of game.
Get him. Everybody loves the Switch, man. Get him a Switch.
Yeah,
get him a Switch. I don't even let him pick. If he picks up my phone, he tries to throw it into the sink from wherever he is. It could be in the living room, bathroom, bedroom, dining room, kitchen. It doesn't matter.
What's this thing that takes away my daddy's attention from me?
Yeah, exactly.
It's going in the toilet.
Well, one of the things that was crazy that the guy who was the people who were kind of my assistants would talk about when they came over to my house in Orlando was that my son at the time, by the time I was doing Nick Arcade, now he was maybe 2.5. And because they would give it, see, the cool thing is they would send me stuff, all of these systems that you have to buy.
You'd have to try that stuff out.
I'd have to try it out. So I'd go to the door and the video game fairy would be there. Like, here's your new Sega Genesis. Here's your new Sega Game Gear. Here's your new Dreamcast. They would bring this to my house. And so I had 5 TVs with everything hooked up. Amazing. And so I had this little kid who could barely walk and could barely poop in the toilet.
But he was good with the zapper. He was good. Dude. The guy. Somebody would come over to bring me the scripts for the show, the next day's show, the night before, and he'd be sitting there watching my son with this controller. He's like, this dude can barely walk, but he's kicking my butt. So he kind of grew up. He was surrounded by it. Every room he had, he in his crib. He's like, how'd you get it? You said he's a filmmaker now, and it's amazing how much video games and films have grown together in terms of production. Towards each other.
Now I get a lot of flack because I'm one of these people where. I get a lot of flack because it has come together a lot, but it's come together too much for me, just me personally. When I play a game, look, I used to be able to buy a game. My mom would go out and buy me a game, spend $35. I'd play that game from the day she got me until summer vacation. Or, if she got it to me in summer, I'd play that game from
the way until Labor Day.
Labor Day, exactly.
Christmas, whatever.
Right. I get a game now, it's $60 and I'm done in a weekend because I'm watching a movie. I got Netflix for movies, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so, when I watch 20 minutes of a video and then go hit X to open a door,
You feel like you're being robbed of the interactive experience.
That's how I feel too.
Well, that is Last of Us in a nutshell. Yes.
Yeah,
but I love it. There's still enough.
So do
action.
I. But it's one of those things where it's like I said, it just when it gets to the action, like Last of Us, Left 4 Dead 2, it's got a lot of action. God of War, even things like Injustice, it's got a lot of action.
That you can control or not cutscenes,
You can control. But there's a lot of games that are lean heavily on the other side where you're watching the movie and people love it. But that's why I said I get a lot of flack for that because I'm like, look, I've got Netflix, I've got Hulu, I've got Hulu. I can watch movies, Amazon Prime. That's what that's for. I want to play a game. I want thumbs. I want swollen thumbs.
Yeah. From Gradius or something like that. From shooting that gun. I see Dan, and then Danny's stuck in the middle because he's worn the balls for us.
That's true.
He has put on the mantle of the balls.
I have performed your cutscenes as pieces.
Well,
of
I don't mind cutscenes. It's like I said,
you don't want them to dominate. You don't want them to dominate what's going on.
Yeah,
exactly. 20 minutes of cutscenes, and then when I finally get to do something, press X to open the door. Boom! 15 more minutes of cutscenes.
And so for you, maybe back in the day was. I'm going to give an example because this is when I was really in it. Like Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil was like 2 sort of stop and start for you, the way it would load and go through a door and load and go.
Yeah, now I tell you the best balance. I'm going to go old school because I'm 150 years old. There was a game called Siphon's Filter Omega Strain. And also Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh yeah.
Best combination of cutscene and action, because I want to see a little bit more, but right before I go, I'm getting tired of this. It goes, start kicking ass, Phil. And I'm like, all right. It takes me all the way to the point of, and boom, I'm right back in it.
You got to build the tension. You had to build the tension, and
exactly.
Siphon Filter was GoldenEye 2 repetitive for you in that time? Or
no, I like GoldenEye 2. That was a great game. I like it
because people that seems to me like even 20 plus years later, people are still talking about games that
GoldenEye,
that era.
GoldenEye 2. Oh, and you know the other one, Star Wars Rogue Squadron for the NES.
Oh, I haven't done that one. Yeah, I still played the second Star Wars game that came out, whatever the one before that was.
No, you go old school.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
Flying around, getting that. You got to fly. You got to make the AT-AT fall by on the you like on.
You get your speeder. You will get your speeder broke up. If you do not.
Yep.
And when you do it right and it falls and
it's so satisfying.
It is.
Those polygons, man. That was like, I remember Star Fox was a real breakthrough at one point, and then Rogue Squadron was a real breakthrough as far as
do a barrel roll
on that system. Yeah, now look at us now. I can't get out of bed without hitting left and right. Look at me.
I just can't. I mean, in 20 years, I just can't even imagine if we're getting like deep fake style video games now. It's like I can't imagine in 20 years what it's going to be.
Yeah,
but real life.
You never will, because you'll be 120 years old and be dead. Jeremy, sorry.
Come on now.
There's nice stuff where even in this COVID time, like where you would want to go over to your buddies back in the day. We've gone from a time where a game came with 2 controllers, a system came with 2 controllers to you have to buy each controller when you get a new console type of thing, because people are playing far away from each other. But in this COVID time, it's actually better. My friend lives just on the other side of the park, but I'm not going to go over to his house to play FIFA.
Get a PS4.
Yes,
upgrade. It's time. Or wait for the 5. You know what I mean?
Or wait for the 5, yeah.
And then make that jump.
This is why I have a MacBook slow.
It's only like a month's rent. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Only like $700.
This is when people...
You can trade in your PS3 for like $60, bro.
How much could a month of rent be, David? $10?
I don't remember what that's from, but I do remember it.
Yeah. And then you talk about how the game economy is kind of broken down, because you look at like GameStop and how they're a measure for how, stuff has been happening. GameStop is like, we're not going to let anybody in. Okay,
they're a dying breed anyway. Yeah, they're. I don't know how they
just buy everything off your console.
Exactly. And the new one has a digital only console, so there's one without even a drive. It's all digital.
That's the 5. Doesn't
they have both, but they have a digital version, and then a console version with a DVD.
Yeah, but can it play PlayStation 1 games?
No, but it can play PlayStation 4 games.
Well, that's bullshit.
Yes.
You're buying a new console that, it's the same thing. Like, you just want to keep everything in unison, right? You should be able to play all of the games from all the consoles.
Backwards compatibility, bro.
Yeah, like I want to play Crash Bandicoot on my PS5. Damn it!
I'd like to play Banjo-Kazooie on my Switch.
And here's what, speaking of Crash, they're doing something that I really like too. Since a lot of games don't do what you want it to do, Danny, I like the ones that some games I like that game. Like, I don't want the new version of insert game name where it plays different. I want to play that game, but I want to look great on my 4K TV. You know? And so Crash did that, because it's one of the few games they just took the same game that existed before and just remastered it in 4K quality.
I'm about to go buy me a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Wait for the 5.
Oh man, I love that game.
I remember that.
The great thing is that you can right now go and get an emulator for your laptop, and you can play all these games in complete better quality than it was at the time, or I guess it's the same, but it looks better now. But
on a different controller, depending upon what you get.
What's that?
On a different controller, depending upon what you get.
Controllers don't matter because it's just, you can use. I use this for all of my. It's just a PS4 controller for all of my emulation stuff. Like I play Tony Hawk 3 and Tony Hawk 2 and Crash Band, anything you can imagine. As long as you own the game physically, it's not illegal.
Well,
if you don't, then we have problems. But nobody gives a
an archival copy. You're just playing your archival copy. So
Open EMU. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Go get Open EMU. That's
EMU.
Yeah, Jeremy has been deep on the ROMs for a while. I don't know if we can talk about this because Phil obviously got sponsors from the real deal.
Yeah, I may have put a kick.
I love that game, Cruise Bandicoot. It's so good.
Super Marshmallow Court. One of my favorites.
I forget. It must have been like a year or two ago. I went back to my parents' house, and in the kitchen they have a TV, and my dad had hooked up like a little like Atari, like loaded with like 50 or something games, and it's just like a USB. Just pop it in.
It's loaded into the controller.
Yeah, basically, yeah. There's a little box, but there's a controller. My dad was just sitting there like playing boxing and like all these old school Atari games. And I was like, what the hell is this? He's like, it's great. I tried to play it. And it was so damn like I was an Atari kid for sure, but I couldn't. My brain was like, no, you can't play these games anymore, man.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's like changing the timeline.
It sucks. Like one button, one. I couldn't take it, man. My attention span has been beaten down by Twitter videos and
you need
TikToks
all of your digits to be busy at the same time.
Yeah. Just didn't feel good. But it was exciting for a second.
ColecoVision was super overstimulating in that time. Like it
had the knob.
And it had like a whole key. It had a whole keypad on it.
Keyboard,
it was way too confusing.
You had to play with your hands and one foot. When you had a ColecoVision, you had to take shoes off. I'm playing the game. I'm playing the game.
I never took it into drumming after that when I had that muscle memory trained in from playing ColecoVision. That's funny. Or the introduction in the N64 of the Z button and Z targeting. My lord, it just changed.
Hey, my apartment's flooding. You guys take over. I'm going to deal with that. Have fun. Literally, the studio. There's an inch of water in here.
No, there's a strong. I'll
be back.
Bye.
One of the few times we're glad not to be in the studio, and
we're not gonna be able to stop rolling, Phil. So if there's anything you want to get out there, despite the network censors, it's time to get it out there because we can't hit the stop button right now because
there's no network censors.
Jeremy can't. I guess that is a nice thing. I mean, I guess. Twitch does exist as a company, but there's so many different channels and there's so many different players and a huge audience for people to look at.
And it's interesting too because everybody talks about how entertainment in general is not only has changed but will be changed forever because of COVID. Because now Twitch is expanding. Like they're looking for. Even the show that I'm doing right now. There's another one coming out in August that's going to be all sort of physical challenges with no video games on it, but it's going to be on Twitch. And it kind of reminded me, like, a friend of mine said, well, isn't that weird for Twitch? I said, well, is it weird when MTV started doing dating shows? It just happens. It's a natural evolution.
It's a channel, right?
Yeah, it's a channel. So they want to get more stuff on there and they want to cover different bases. So, it's kind of crazy.
Nationwide, that green screen sales are going to go up in the past. I want to track green screen sales.
You know what's going to be a lost market too is going to be location managing. Because everything will be green screened up.
Yeah, this seems
like you know
like
what? We don't really want to pay to do it in front of the Arc de Triomphe.
It seems like a deliberate thing because they just joined the Teamsters a couple of years ago.
They
just all became Teamsters. So this is just a what do you call it? An anti-union, a backhanded anti-union pandemic.
Yeah. Hey, you guys can't use no green screens unless Wheezy is.
Okay, good. I could see green screen Teamsters. This is an interesting thing to organize.
Hello, studio executive. Yes, I found a location. Yeah, my living room.
Right.
Great. That's it.
How much? What's your kit rental for the living room?
But yeah, Teamsters got to come over with a mask to set up the green screen for you. You can't touch the green screen.
Yeah, you can't touch it.
You figure, what do you call it? Cameo would be a good way of people to continue to get contact-free income in this time, and it's something that people could do from home. You know, Dan, you could be calling people blowholes all day for $50 a pop.
If I had a nickel for every time those guys have DM me to get.
But you wouldn't have a nickel. But you wouldn't have a nickel. You would have.
I know. I would
30
have
30 to $40. Yeah.
Per insult, per little.
Per buck.
Insult.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't want it.
What can you do?
I'm saying when you think about. I
think we should double down, and you and I could just do it together, and we don't do any separate. We only do them combined, and it's $100 a pop, and we'll say whatever they write down for us.
And screen sharing like this, where we're just like diagonal to each other. It's like, hey, knucklehead, what are you doing here?
Dude, my wife's friend, for her birthday, her husband got her a cameo from Susie from Curb Your Enthusiasm, Jeff's wife, and like she just rips into her and like saying all these foul, dirty things. And I'm thinking about it, and then I looked. She cost $375 a cameo spot.
Happy freaking birthday.
They spent that, and that's good money. And that my wife's friend is so excited that she has this like 1.5-minute video of Susie like verbally abusing her. And to think about the money that she got paid to just sit there like with her phone and be like, fuck you, you fucking fuck, blah, blah, blah. Like that's good work, man. I'll take that work.
That's good. You're saying that's a transaction with a willing buyer and a willing seller.
Yeah. I mean, that's
it's 100%. Not abusive.
It's not abusive. No.
It's not abusive except for the category that it is in Cameo.
Exactly.
Man, that's okay. We've all done Comic-Cons. It's a similar vibe, except you know.
Yeah.
So people that be like, "Hey, can I actually take a video of you saying something?" And you're like, I guess so. It's okay. At least Cameo, there's a buffer now. There's gonna be like,
what is your most requested thing? The I don't know. Is that
people love to hear me say I don't know. That is for sure.
Oh.
But mostly it's still is the tattoo real?
Or take a sponge bath hammer.
And I have to do this to them, and they get very sad. And I have to explain to them that I was 7 years old and tattoos for children is illegal.
At that time. Now laws
in
have
COVID
changed.
In COVID time, it's just anyone can poke and stick anyone.
Yeah, there's no rules. It's interesting because I feel like Dan didn't have a tattoo for a long time because his character had one, and it would kind of it was kind of subconsciously on his mind that his character that he became known for had a tattoo, and Dan didn't have one. And then he got married, and this is a special enough event for him to have a tattoo.
Right, yeah. That's true.
Well, when I go around now, it's almost like a little mini session of Whose Line Is It Anyway? You know how when Wayne Brady does the song? Because the one thing that everybody wants to hear me do is make up a song on the spot. It was one of those weird things. I started to do. I did it one time on the show. It became a thing. So now I'm sitting there at a Comic-Con. I'm like, "How was your name? Can you make a song about my name?"
Oh gosh.
Do I get royalties? Yeah, I mean,
that's pressure.
You just sing. You know what? Next time, just sing the damn name game with their name. Danny, Bo, Banny, Banana, Bo, Banny.
You got to do it in a dot.
Yeah, I know.
How's the mop situation,
Horrible.
Jeremy?
Horrible.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Not good?
What's going on, man?
Do you need
apartment flooded?
This episode of Danny and Mike is brought to you by ShamWOW and the ShamWOW Corporation. He's got about 15
and by sponges
swelling up
water.
Billy West is outside using a mop making a SpongeBob's voice.
Anyway, finish it up, gents.
Guys,
It's clear to the TV. It's like the whole apartment's flooded.
Not the PS4. I'm going to come over and get that so we can play FIFA.
Last of Us 2 is playing right now too.
Oh god.
Server Pro it is.
Let's hear about Phil Moore for you at twitter.com. That's Phil's social media handle. I want to hear about.
Right. Yeah. You give us your plugs. Tell us what you got going on.
Okay. Well, it's funny because for some reason I was able to get that on everything. Phil Moore for you for Twitter, to Twitch, for Instagram, PHILMOORE, the number 4. And the letter U. It's kind of a Prince thing I was doing. I would die for you.
All right, I like it.
And right now, man, I'm living the life here in Glendale, California. Producing, like I said, for Twitch. We're about to do our last episode for Chasing the Crown. It's going to air this Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. It is live. And then starting in August, I'll be doing a show called Dare Package. Also on Twitch. And if you got children, which you got the right age child, Mike, there, Ryan's Mystery Playdate. That was my revisit back to Nickelodeon. I was actually back in the Nickelodeon fold for about 3 seasons, producing that YouTube phenomenon.
I'll check it out.
His mom and dad. So it was a lot of fun. Again, just a lot of physical challenges.
Is that the kid who opens the presents?
The toys. Yeah.
The toys?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He's got a show on Nick Jr. now. We just did the 3rd season, which is airing now. And they just got picked up for a 4th, which they're going to do a bit differently. Now that COVID, the 4th season is going to be done with a lot of green screen interaction between
like I said,
and his followers.
Green screen sales are going up, up, up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, it's going to be out the roof, go through the roof. So, but that's it, man. Yeah, people can follow me on any of those things. Just Phil Moore for you, whether it's Twitter, Twitch, or Instagram. And aside from that, Danny, I've been chatting with you a bit about your little man, which is kind of fun. I have been officially adopted as a grandfather to wonderful stepdaughter I have, and so now I'm running around following a kid who was born on my birthday.
Congratulations! You never forget.
Exactly, never forget. August 24th. The funny thing is, the crazy thing is, we're going to be 1, and her name is Liliana. So keeping the Nickelodeon thing, I've already made up T-shirts like Rugrats that say Phil and Lil. So
congratulations, man! Nice. Looking forward to it. Nice. Go Virgos!
Just keeping it in the family. All roads lead back to Nick somehow. Yeah,
it's because Nick did well by all of us, and that's
it was a great time, man. It was like they had a team of people that actually sort of groomed you. They taught you how to be in the public limelight, as opposed to, I think, a lot of people now, especially kids, it happens and then it just falls on them. But they, I remember having a little talk where, like, even when you take pictures, just to make sure that everybody was fine, like your hands had to be in plain sight every time, so you could never take a picture.
Stuff. Right.
Yeah, safe stuff, not because, we were going to do anything to the kids, but even to protect us. So that nobody can say, hey, you can't see his hand, but guess where it is, Right, so whenever you took a picture, even if you had it around the shoulder, it's like, hey, here's my hands around Timmy. Yeah,
Timmy.
They taught you how to...
That's why that 90s point was just problematic, because you didn't know where the other hand was, but you knew where one was.
But you knew where one was, right. And I think how to do interviews, They taught you how to do interviews. It was really kind of cool, man. It was a cool time. It's still great there now, but it's more of a, it's like a machine. It's like a machine now.
Sure. It was a more creative kind of let's see what happens mentality back in the night.
Yeah, we're talking about Nickelodeon. I liken it now that I live in LA. I liken it to Disneyland versus Disney World. Disneyland is Walt's dream. Disney World is like, how can we make money off of Walt's dream?
Whoa.
I never heard about it like that, but it makes complete and total sense to me, Phil.
It does, man. It really does. Yeah. So that's it,
Jeremy could have used more of those souvenir Nickelodeon sponges and mops.
Well, you know what? I got some Nickelodeon badges left. That's about it. I gave all my stuff away over the course of 25 years. People would, because first of all, it makes great gifts when you forget someone's insert thing. I forgot my nephew's birthday. Hey,
here you go.
Here's a Ren and Stimpy plush doll. Oh man, it's your daughter's quinceañera. Yeah, here's a "Are You Afraid of the Dark" T-shirt.
It's topical.
Nothing like a last minute get for a quinceañera, you know.
Oh man.
so I'm gonna
Bar Mitzvah. Here's some SpongeBob.
I'm gonna share a picture with me trying to squeeze into this jean jacket. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you. I'll let you guys see it. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, we'll post it.
Maybe we'll put it up. If you think I should not put it on, let us know at 347-470-8150, which is the Danny and Mike hotline. Voicemail.
It's true. People leave messages for us, Phil, and then we answer them on little mini-sodes.
Nice. How long have you two been doing this podcast with Jeremy?
Like about 6 or 7 years at this point.
Wow.
6 plus. We want to say. Yeah, it's like my phone. It's going to be a 6S plus next year. The Danny and Mike show is brought to you by Extremely Brawny paper towels and Suck It Up sponges and the ShamWOW Corporation.
And Jeremy's getting a ServaPro shout out right
now. Roto Rooter and also the sump pumps. They really suck. The ones that really suck.
And by PS3 for those who like gaming in the dark.
Yes.
I play a FIFA I play a FIFA from like 2012 or 2013, like that has the updated roster where Liverpool still has Luis Suarez because he's just a very good player.
I have NBA 2K 2011 just because the New Jersey Nets are still the New Jersey Nets, and I still get to play as the New Jersey Nets.
Man, Joe Johnson's not messing around. I saw some video, and Joe Johnson still has it, and I think I'm glad that you're not in Orlando to be near all that stuff happening with the NBA, because it's just it's bubble action and a lot of carrot sticks from what I can tell in the social media and the pictures of the meals.
And just for the record, anyone making fun of Joel Embiid for wearing a hazmat suit to go to practice, you all can go suck it, because that man is trying to take care of his family.
Speaking
and
of
play
going
sport do things that are like, I saw that people were making fun of him for it. I was like, that's,
speaking of wearing a hazmat suit and going to suck it, Jeremy, what's the situation? As you suck down the mocha, what's going on?
There are days, gentlemen, that I want to jump off buildings.
No.
Put my head in the water.
No, you live in a basement. You could not jump off a building. You have to go to someone else's building. That would not be safe.
Did the drain in front of your
apartment up to the living room?
Are the
Yowzers. Okay.
Well, look, why don't we say goodbye?
Phil,
but this has been fun, man.
This podcast is brought to you by the Last Podcast Network. Just to make sure.
And galoshes, lots of galoshes. We're gonna sign off before the water level hits the power strip. But
get yourself a pump, Jeremy, man. Take care of that. Hope it all works out well. Seriously,
good to meet you.
Hey guys, great seeing you.
Phil, thank you so much, man. Good to see you.
So much for being on the pod.
Don't hit quit yet. Yeah, we are brought to you by.
We are part of the Last Podcast Network.
Yes, we
check them out, lastpodcastnetwork.com. You can find Danny at Danny Tamberelli on the Instas. At Michael C. Maronna on the Twits. I am at Remy Balon, at Jeremy Balon on other things. New podcast launching August 2nd, my birthday, called Going Dork.
Leos and Virgos.
Got any plugs that you want to throw out? I mean, I guess we've talked about the show.
We did it. We did it already. We hooked it up.
You were busy plugging the drain, and we were busy plugging Phil.
Well, Phil, it was very nice to meet you. I'm sorry.
That doesn't sound
man.
right.
Look, I'm sorry about your problems, man, but it was great meeting you. And I hope it, handle it, man. Get off here and go handle it.
Yes.
Go do it, Noah. Take care of it, Noah.
Exactly.
Bye.
All right,
Good talking to you. Good to meet you.
Good.
See you later.
Let's see you. Bye, guys.
The Adventures of Danny and Mike stars Danny Tamberelli and Michael C. Maronna. The show is produced by me, Jeremy Balon. This podcast is part of the Last Podcast Network, which can be found at lastpodcastnetwork.com. Make sure and check that out for a ton of great shows. For more information on the guys, visit our website at dannyandmike.com. Also look us up on Twitter at Danny and Mike with the N spelled out, and on Facebook at facebook.com/The Adventures of Danny and Mike. Thanks for listening.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors. You can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.